Hello, welcome back to my channel and welcome to another reading vlog where I'm letting a random number generator choose the books that I read. So I've done a few videos like this before and they were always very fun, even in the ones that I had a book or two that I didn't, love or that I didn't even really like. It was still like fun because it just helps me get through the books that are just like buried in my TBR that I wouldn't get to anytime soon. Honestly, I don't think that in any of these videos I read a book that I was like planning on reading soon. I don't think. And I mean, most times I do find books that I enjoy. Not all of them, but mostly I do end up enjoying the books because I mean, if they're my TBR, they're already books that I think I'm gonna enjoy, obviously. And yeah, most of them I obviously do. And yeah, we are here once again to do one of these videos and we are gonna choose 3 books for me to read from my Goodreads TBR. Okay, so here is my TBR. As always, there's a discrepancy in the number of books that's in my like want to read list because here it always says one less book than like the number that appears here, but we always ignore it and we do go with the highest number. And so it seems that the last time that I did this thing, I had 192 books in my TBR and now I have 194. But let's keep in mind that I added 20 books for like my anticipated releases for this year. So that was 20 books and I only have 2 extra. Granted, from those 20, 3 of them are no longer in my TBR because I have either read them or I'm reading them. But it would still be 17. And 17 minus 2 is 15. So I guess I read 15 books from my TBR since I last filmed one of these videos. So I would say that's a win. But anyway, let's put here 194 and let's spin for our first book. And now there are definitely books that I have already planned for certain videos for certain months. So if you do get one of those, I will not be reading them in this video and we will just spin again. And so for our first book, we have number 164, which is definitely like more recent than I expected. Okay, The Night Guest. I think that is horror. Yes, it is. It's a horror. It's a novella. How fun. It's a short book. I love that for me. Okay, second spin. It always gives me like books that are the start of series. So I'm expecting that to happen as well because I do have a lot of those in my TBR. So I mean, it's just like, it's likely that it happens. Now it's number 53, which is definitely like way more down there. 53. Oh my god, it's another horror. Okay. We Have Always Lived in the Castle is horror. And it's also pretty short. Okay, the number generator is being nice to me. Love that. And now for our final book. Now I'm scared because those 2 were like really short. Okay, so we have number 80. Why is there like number 130 here between 73 and 74? I'm not even gonna question it. Okay, Jackal, I actually have like planned for a reading challenge in I think April, so I cannot read Jackal in February or March. It's one of those cases, so I am actually gonna spin again. But I think that is also horror. Maybe like sci-fi horror? I can check after. So I guess it's just giving me horror books. Okay, we have number 42. It is the beginning of a series. Of course it is. And this is fantasy, I guess. It is fantasy. Fantasy and maybe sci-fi. And it's 630 pages, because of course it is. It could be worse. I have like books that are 1,000 pages in my TBR, so 630, it's not that bad. And how many books are there in this series? Okay, only 2. I mean, 2 plus a novella, I assume. Okay, that's actually way less than I expected. And so, yeah, we have 2 horror novellas and 1 fantasy book that is the start of a duology. I don't know if it's a duology, but so far it has 2 main books. So yeah, I'm gonna read those books. Maybe I will read like one of the horrors and then the fantasy and then the other horror. So it's not like the 2 horror books back to back. Not that I will read them back to back anyway. I will be reading other books in between, I assume. But just so it's more interesting for the video, I guess. But yeah, I will start reading, and maybe like the novellas, depending on what's happening and how much I have to say, I will read the whole thing before updating. I don't know, we will see, but I'm going to get to reading these books. Okay, so I have read the first book, which is The Night Guest, and it was like really short, especially because some of the chapters were like 1 sentence long. So, you know, I just read the whole book and didn't update halfway through because, like I said, it was extremely short. The audiobook was like less than 3 hours long, and I listened to it at 3 times speed, so it was less than 1 hour long. So, you know, extremely short. But we were following Yoon. I don't really know if that's how you say her name, and yes, I did listen to the audiobook and I still don't know. And she basically, like, in the beginning of the book, she goes to a doctor because she is feeling like, when she wakes up, she feels very tired and like her muscles are like sore, like she had, you know, been up all night doing things, and, you know, she doesn't think that she has, until one day she gets like one of those step tracking watches, and she ends up falling asleep with it on. And when she wakes up, she has walked over 40,000 steps, I think, something crazy like that. And when she checks the GPS, like that happens multiple nights. And when she checks the GPS, she sees that she goes always like to the kind of the same location, and she, you know, she knows that there's something that she's doing during the night that she isn't aware of, which is extremely creepy. So, you know, it was creepy. I was enjoying it. I wasn't loving it. I was thinking of giving it like, I don't know, 3.5 stars. Like, it was fine, but it wasn't anything crazy. But it was, you know, decently creepy. But then, like, when we got to the reveal of what she was actually doing, I really didn't like it, because there were so many things, like so many other things that she could have been doing that were better, like they would be better. So yeah, I was pretty disappointed with the ending. And yeah, like, I don't know, there were so many other options that would have made it better. You know, like, why would you go with that? So yeah, I didn't like the ending at all, but like, I didn't hate the book because it was still pretty creepy, which I enjoyed, like in the first half basically. So yeah, I didn't like it, but I didn't hate it. So I think I'm gonna give it 2.5 stars, which, like I said, is disappointing. Not the best way to start this video, but like, I will give my final ratings at the end of the video, but I think it will probably be 2.5 stars. So yeah, that's it for the first book. And we are gonna now get into the second book, which I think is going to be the fantasy one. And this one will obviously be longer, so I will be updating halfway through, and hopefully I'll be enjoying it more than I enjoyed this one. so I am 51% into the Aeronauts Windlass. I'm not entirely sure how to say that word. The Aeronaut. Anyway, I'm 51% into that book, and this is a fantasy book. It's the first book in a fantasy, I think, duology. I'm not entirely sure, but I think it's a duology. And honestly, I am confused. And I don't know if I'm confused just because maybe I'm not paying as much attention as I should because I am not loving it, or if I should be as confused as I am. But I feel like it's a me problem because I'm not paying like full attention to it. Because, like I said, I'm not fully loving it. I'm not disliking it, like I am liking it, but I'm not loving it. I'm like, I'm not obsessed with it. But basically, we start following two characters. One is called Gwen, and the other is called Bridget, I think. And the two of them like enter the army, and like one of them wants to enter the army, and that's Gwen, and the other one doesn't, and that's Bridget. And Bridget actually has like a cat, but in this world, cats are like, they talk to some people, like people who speak cat. They have like their whole like community, their whole society, which is really cool. And also it's like really cool to be in the cat's head. Like the cat's thoughts are really interesting, especially like regarding humans. Absolutely love when we're like in a cat's POV. It's really funny. So I am really liking that part. And yeah, they are in the army. And then we are also following Grim, who is like in charge of a ship. And there are like different spires. And Grim and like the other ones that are in the army, like they work for Spire Albion. And they kind of like, a war starts between like Spire Albion and Spire Aurora. And so, you know, we're seeing that unfold. And obviously the ones that are in the army are also are becoming part of that war, obviously. And yeah, Grim, he gets hired to also do a job because of this whole war that is happening. And yeah, like towards the middle points, it got more interesting to me, is at least because we got more cats and we got to meet like a whole society of the cats, which is really interesting. I really like that. I am having a lot of fun with the cats, at least. The rest I'm like okay about. Like I don't love it, but I don't dislike it either. Like it's fine. And I feel like I'm in the minority here because from the reviews I've seen, like most people love this book. So, you know, I assume I am the problem in this case. But like in the synopsis, it talks about like an ancient enemy that is like awakening. And like I think that has sort of like it's starting, but not that much of that yet. So I'm excited to see like where that goes, and I'm excited about the cats. The rest I'm like okay about. Like I do like the friendship between the girls because they do, you know, become friends when they enter the army, and I do like that. And yeah, like the characters are interesting and like the world seems interesting. But yeah, I'm confused, but again, I think that is my problem. So, I'm liking it. I'm not loving it, but I'm loving the cats, at least. I love the cats. Absolutely love the cats. And yeah, I'm gonna finish it. I'm gonna try to pay more attention to the second half, and I will be back to give my final update on that book. Okay, so I finished the Aeronauts Windlass, and I definitely like the second half more than the first. And well, we did get more of the cats, which was super fun. Absolutely love the cats. And we also got like battle scenes in the airships, which was really, really cool. But I also was like more invested in the plot overall in the second half. And I guess I was actually more connected to the characters than I initially thought, because when, you know, they were in danger, I was actually worried about some of them. And so, yeah, I definitely liked this second half way more. And like the ancient enemy thing that was an awakening, it was also really cool, actually. And so, yeah, I enjoyed it more, but I still didn't, you know, love it. Like, it was fine. I had a good time. It was fun, but I didn't love it. but I think I'm gonna give it like 3.5 stars because the first half felt like 3 stars, but the second half, like I said, I liked more. So yeah, it was 3.5 stars. It was fun, it was a good time, it was a good book, but like I said, I feel like people in general love it like way more than I do, so take what I said with a grain of salt. But yeah, like I said, I think I'm gonna give it 3.5 stars, and I might continue the, again, I think it's a duology, but I'm not entirely sure. I might continue one day because, like I said, especially towards the end, I was getting more invested, but it's definitely not gonna be like on my priority of books to read because I have so many books that I'm like so excited to read, and like the sequel of this one is definitely not one of those, but you know, one day I might read it because I did enjoy it. I did have a good time. And yeah, that is our second book. And now we're gonna go into the last book, the third book, which is called We Have Always Lived in the Castle, which is horror. And it's pretty short, I think. So I don't know if I will update halfway through. It depends on whether I have anything relevant to say. But honestly, like probably not. But we'll see. But I am excited for that one. I have seen some mixed reviews, like from the people that I follow. But overall, I am excited to get into that one. Okay, so I have read We Have Always Lived in the Castle, and this was, I think I said probably, I mean, surely, this was a horror book. It was pretty short, it was a novella, and honestly, I don't really know what to say about it without it being spoilery, because the synopsis, like on Goodreads at least, is so short and so vague that I don't even know what is considered a spoiler or not. But basically, we start by following a character, a girl called Mary Catherine, and we learn that she lives in like a mansion, like a really big house, in a really fancy house in this town, and she lives with her older sister and their uncle. And they spend like their whole time locked away basically in that house. They don't leave the house except for Mary Catherine. She goes to the town sometimes to like, you know, do some chores, buy groceries, things that they need. And so she's the only one that leaves the house. And we see her like in the beginning of the book going to the town on her errands. And she, like, the people don't like her or her family. That is obvious from the beginning. And like they're really rude to her. And then we learn that the rest of their family, they all died. They were all poisoned. And there was one of the survivors was, you know, the main suspect, obviously. And there was never really enough proof, and no one really ever figured out who actually had poisoned them all. But yeah, people, you know, in general, people outside of the family, they didn't like any of them. And then there is like a cousin that gets there, and he starts living there with them, and you know, he really changes the dynamic of the family. And I hated him so much, which I know is the point, but like he gave me, like, he made me so angry. I hated him so much. And the only thing I guess I felt in this book was that anger, because otherwise it was just okay. I wasn't really, I guess I didn't really connect to the characters. I didn't really care. And like we did find out who actually poisoned everyone. We found that out, and like it was fine. I didn't dislike it. Like I didn't dislike it because it was short. If it had been a longer book with nothing really happening, I probably wouldn't have liked it at all. But since it was pretty short, like it was fine that it was just nothing really happening other than the cousin disrupting their life. But yeah, it was fine. Like it was okay. I didn't think it was really that creepy or scary. Honestly, it was just sad. And yeah, it was fine. I think I'm giving it 3 stars. It was just, yeah, it was fine. It was okay. I didn't like really like it. I didn't dislike it either. It was fine. it was fine. So yeah, those are the 3 books for this video. And so the final ratings for the books that I read were The Night Guest, I gave 2.5 stars, The Aeronauts Windlass, I gave 3.5 stars, and We Have Always Lived in the Castle, I gave 3 stars. So there were really no book that I, really liked. They were all okay, like varying degrees of okay, but all okay. But we did achieve the main goal, which is to make me read books that I would not read anytime soon otherwise. So that goal was 100% achieved. And yeah, it was still fun because, like I said, I didn't love any of the books, but I also didn't really dislike any of them. Like, they were okay, they were fine. They were, like, I had good times with all of them. So it was still a fun time filming this video. It was still a fun time reading these books. And I definitely want to keep making more of these videos in the future because I want to read the books that are in my TBR. But yeah, that is everything for this video. So thank you so much for watching. I really hope that you have enjoyed it. And if you did, give it a like and subscribe. And I will talk to you next time. Bye!